Tonight's topic is about the Hypno-Disk Aquarium tape. A Chinese proverb says that if a man can hold only one thought in his head for 10 minutes, he can rule the world. In other words, if he can do this, he has mastered the art of concentration. And it's concentration which separates the winners from the losers. When one holds a single thought, all other random thoughts are kept out. But under normal circumstances, when you try to concentrate or meditate, all those random thoughts keep popping up, making that only one thought impossible. But being able to cancel out those random thoughts is indeed the key to success. The inability to keep those nagging, unwanted thoughts out is a guarantee of failure, or at least mediocrity. You've probably seen the movie Carbine Williams, starring Jimmy Stewart. In it, Marshall Williams is an uncooperative, belligerent prisoner. He's thrown into the hole for pure punishment, where he can neither stand up nor lie down. It's also dark, and all he gets for a refreshment is bread and water. The only way a convict can get out is to beg and promise to be good. No con had lasted more than a week, but Williams lasted a month and had to be ordered out. But he was having great fun there because he had learned to concentrate. When he showed his warden the diagram of his carbine, he explained that a person can think of one thing at a time. While he was thinking of how much he hurt, he couldn't think of anything else. When he switched his thinking to something else, he didn't feel the pain. He then learned to focus all his thoughts to a gun mechanism. Bit by bit, he designed the M1 carbine in his mind. So intent was he that he stopped feeling the pain and discomfort. So after a month, his body was in bad shape, but his mind was sharper than it had ever been. When he was released from the prison, he continued to invent and filed over 100 patents on gun mechanisms and such. A while after I had the accident which ruined my left hand, I had to get the sutures removed. There was an incredible amount of constant pain, and I dreaded the visit to the doctor. When he began to work, for some reason I closed my eyes and visualized the beach in Hawaii. I followed the waves and filled in the skyline, so I had a complete picture of the area. I concentrated so hard I barely felt a thing. My doctor commented on the fact that I didn't yell. I told him what I'd been doing, and he answered that that was simply an example of self-hypnosis. Thereafter, when my hand was really hurting, I concentrated on researching my first poor man's James Bond. That, too, was a kind of self-hypnosis, as it kept me from feeling the pain. Even now, when I set to work, I blank out all other sensations, only keeping the subject in mind. Thus preoccupied, I keep out most random thoughts and get the work done during a kind of self-hypnosis. Actually, hypnosis is a poor and even misleading term. Hypnosis is Greek for sleep. Sleep is a term used to describe various levels of unconsciousness, as awake is a term used to describe various levels of consciousness. But the hypnotized person, self or otherwise, is not unconscious. He is indeed aware of all that is going on, but he is concentrating so completely on a focal point or idea that any random happenings going on around him, or even to him, are of no importance. Consider a football player running down the field with the ball. He is set upon by members of the opposing team. He is indeed aware of the body blocks and attempts to tackle them. He is concentrating on the goalposts ahead, so he hardly feels the blows which would leave him in a heap if a careless jogger should run into him off the field. Only after the game is over does he limp to the aid station to get his ribs taped, his ankle splinted, and his bruises and sprains treated with liniment. Then he can hurt and groan at his leisure. In battle, a soldier may suffer several flesh wounds without being stopped. There are even cases of mortal wounds being suffered without attention from the victim until he's destroyed his objective. However, combat puts the soldier more in a state of shock than concentration. The fight or flight syndrome is automatically put into play while his conscious mind is dulled. So he falls back on his training or even his instinct. Even so, the difference between shock and deep concentration may only be relative, as the result is often the same. Thus you have people under hypnosis being stuck with pins or otherwise violated. Usually such atrocities are remembered and dealt with, or at least cause no actual harm. But don't expect to get sex by inducing deep concentration in a subject. The subject might just decide to drop the concentration and bring you before the law. At any rate, I'm generally opposed to any sort of mind control by another. Leave hypnotism to professional therapists who know what they're doing. But getting back to my experiences, Over the years, I've noticed others with much better education than I who were losers. They just couldn't take advantage of their backgrounds. I built up a theory that my success was due to the loss of the fingers of my left hand. I noted certain people who had also risen above tragedies and were more productive than before. I believed that their loss of certain physical abilities forced them to develop their minds. I even criticized certain of my friends who were highly intelligent but unproductive. I would ask them if they would have to lose an arm or a leg and thus be forced to use their minds. I seemed to have a good theory, but I also noticed that a lot of the seriously handicapped went out for sports. They climbed mountains, crawled across country, and tried out for the Cripple Olympics to prove to themselves that they could rise above their handicaps. I had nothing but contempt for these last, since I considered them mindless buffoons, since their handicaps had not forced them to develop their brains, which they needed even more now that their bodies were impaired. Finally, I realized my theory was wrong. My mental abilities hadn't been strengthened by a decrease in my physical abilities. They had been strengthened by my unconscious use of concentration, meditation, or self-hypnosis, all of which are the same phenomenon. Those handicapped who became more productive were simply practicing the same principles as was I. So one doesn't need to be crippled or in pain to develop his mind. To understand self-hypnosis, etc., you need to have an idea of how the mind works. A general theory is that the human mind has three facets: the conscious, subconscious, and superconscious. To get a picture of the three facets, visualize the fully equipped soldier. Compare the conscious mind to his uniform, boots, helmet, and weapons. These he has and uses all the time. Next, compare the subconscious mind to the training he underwent to use his equipment. Now imagine the superconscious as the overview the top soldier has, whereby he has an instinct which carries him to his objective, dodging dangers, being unafraid and calm, and doing just the right thing, while some of his comrades step on mines, walk into ambushes, etc. Another example might be in an office. The conscious mind could be compared to the desk and its drawers with everything commonly used right there. The subconscious would be the file cabinets. The superconsciousness would be the files stored in the basement, used only when there is a real problem that can't be settled without a diligent search of the background facts. Then there is the reincarnationist theory. Again, the conscious mind is the day-to-day information. The subconscious has all the information collected in this life. The superconscious would then be the total record of all past lives, in which just about every answer to a question could be gotten. The object is to relax, shove aside all those inrushing random thoughts, and either simply rest or examine otherwise hard-to-get information in your sub and superconscious. What keeps one from resting or concentrating are the numerous unresolved thoughts, actions, and conflicts which keep popping up. Each seems to say, "Pay attention to me, I'm most important." And as they clamor for attention, you only get anxious and confused, or if trying to go to sleep, you toss and turn and get more restless the harder you try to relax. The key to relaxation, followed by concentration, is something to focus your conscious mind on, to the exclusion of all outside stimuli. This may be a swinging watch, a metronome, or other usually bright object. But the best of all is the spiral disk revolving and seeming to pull your conscious mind into a kind of whirlpool. This whirlpool will shut out all conscious trivia, allowing you to go to the core of a problem without distraction. My purpose is to give you a way in which you can clean out the cobwebs and non-essential stimuli from your own subconscious. As you learn to use this to go deeper and deeper into concentration, you can perhaps establish a controlled contact with your superconscious. When you get your tape, wait until a quiet time when you're alone and won't be disturbed. Turn off your phone and don't have your radio on, especially to rock and roll. You don't want any suggestions coming at you while you're concentrating. Just settle down and get comfortable, but close enough to easily get the full impact of the spiraling disc. Start the tape and first watch the fish. The tank is pretty. The fish are pretty. Just mellow out and let yourself go. A lot of people have aquariums just to relax. The fish don't do anything. In fact, they're boring. But as you look at them, you feel your tension going. And so many of those nagging thoughts go, only to be replaced by the fascinating sight of that dumb fish standing on his head picking at the gravel. After a while, even if you try, you'll be hard put to remember what you were thinking about before you focus your attention on that stupid fish. If you should remember, you will see how unimportant was that thought compared to the mindless drifting of that Garami, Beta, or Tetra. Just with this, you will have experienced a level of self-hypnosis. Now that you're more relaxed, look at the slowly revolving, spiraling disc. You have seen the same one or like it often on TV or in the movies, but you never see it shown revolving for more than a few brief seconds. The reason for this is that it would put too many viewers into a hypnotic trance. It wouldn't do for Mrs. McGillicuddy to let her stew boil over on the stove. Of course, she'd know it was burning, but it wouldn't be important, at least not so important as zeroing in on the big secret the revolving disc was just about to reveal to her. Now, this is an example of what can happen to an overly susceptible person, and especially when he or she is listening to a commercial or something else that will plant commands in the mind. That's why you should not have the radio on or be listening to any music with lyrics. If you do it right, you won't get any impression you haven't put in. Actually, you should just relax and let go. After you've brushed aside all the day's random thoughts, at first you'll just get drowsy and should soon fall into a very refreshing sleep. As you get used to the disc, you can think of some problem you want resolved. Then as you go deeper into your subconscious, every bit of information related to the problem will pop up and you can choose the most likely solution. But you probably won't remember making any choices at all. Most likely the right choice will occur to you the next day, and you'll wonder why you didn't think of that before. What has happened can be best explained by imagining a stack of correspondence relating to a specific subject. Some of it is good, but most of it is irrelevant or incorrect. So you sort through the pile and throw away the irrelevant and incorrect and file the good stuff. So with the disc, you give a command to your subconscious to submit its information on a specific subject. Usually, when you're floundering around for an answer, your subconscious will submit the good with the garbage. But in your conscious state, you have little control, and the submissions are just a confusing mishmash. But in your concentrated state with the disc, you examine each submission and choose the good and discard the bad. And the bad, or useless, are indeed discarded. They are no longer in your subconscious file cabinet. Also, unlike the unprepared and commercially bombarded Mrs. McGillicuddy, you are not conscious of any ideas until the next day. Then the chosen ideas just pop up, ready for use. Your subconscious also holds the stored information which may have caused you to gain weight, become addicted to drugs, or any number of self-destructive habits. By looking at the disc and concentrating on your problem, you can weed out the negative information and thus rid yourself of the destructive impulses. There are real possibilities of curing yourself of more serious health problems if they are psychosomatic. However, I would advise against throwing away any medications you're on until your doctor pronounces you cured. As you master this technique, you may even learn to tap your superconscious. Here we come into the realm of seeming magic and miracles. But before dwelling on this aspect, you should consider the Hypno-Disk only as an aid to relaxation, meditation, concentration, etc. After watching a while, you'll probably soon get drowsy, and next day you'll feel more refreshed. Also, you'll either sleep more soundly or have very interesting dreams. Another thing you'll probably notice is that you are more cheerful and that you think more clearly. I can't explain this, but it works, even without any effort to concentrate. It may be that the spiral disc automatically draws the eye to it and focuses the mind inward toward whatever has been causing anxiety. When you've had the tape for a couple of weeks, I'd appreciate some feedbacks. There should be no disturbing side effects or after effects, but I would like to share with other readers the benefit to individuals and any special techniques used in gaining these benefits. The 60-minute tape costs only $19.95 or $17.95 to subscribers. Okay, here I am again. The phone number is 501-437-2963. And the mailing address for the $10 information packet is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas 72611. And with the $10, you get your first issue of U.S. Militia, the sample issue of Shoestring Entrepreneur, telling how you can sell anything you can make or grow, and either the Fuel book or Root Rot, which is the exposure of the stupid TV series Roots and showing how it was absolute fraud, and also something to rub the liberals' nose in when they talk about the blacks being stolen or kidnapped out of Africa. When you've got that, and it's an extremely readable book, you'll enjoy all of the stories, all printed over 100 years ago, and in Yankee publications, which show that the blacks were actually rescued from Africa. And any black person today would be very happy that his ancestors were brought over here as slaves rather than being sacrificed and maybe even eaten in Africa. And if you order the Fuel book, which shows you how anyone can make fantastic amounts of either fuel or booze, remember that where you sprout the corn, you have to get non-hybrid corn. Because the hybrid corn, which is mainly what you can get from your seed and feed store, see, when they sell the hybrid corn to the farmer plants the corn, and it's just a one-crop deal. It doesn't hardly sprout at all after that. It's just for food and people and for stock and things like that. So remember, if you get the Fuel book, which tells you how to make your own still and everything like that. I'll keep on with that. Hello, Kurt here.
Hello, Kurt. This is Jim from Illinois.
Hi, Jim.
Just been tuning in to you. I find your show very interesting.
I'm glad.
And I had a question. I guess it's kind of a twofold question.
Yes.
What is your opinion behind the current, the radical anti-gun movement? What do they, hope to accomplish?
Well, I think the radical anti-gun movement is mainly set off by the commercial gun interests, because we have over 200 million guns in this country, rifles, shotguns, and pistols owned by civilians. And it's like the car industry. When every year they want you to buy a newer, higher-priced car, and so I think that they are getting to these government people and making such a big mess out of it so that they will bring in the Brady bill and this and that kind of bill to excite people to go out and buy more guns. Because if you bought the right guns, the guns you should have, like a 30-06 rifle, standard model, which you can get, I prefer the M1 Garand,
yeah.
But just any good serviceable hunting rifle, 30-06, and a 12-gauge shotgun, and a 38 revolver, they would never wear out with normal usage, and you would have one purchase of guns for your whole lifetime. So you wouldn't be making much money for the gun business.
That's right.
So, I mean, we got more guns than anybody could use. I figure with those 200 million guns, there's some people only have one gun and some people have 100, but you sort of figured out you've got probably about 50 million gun owners, and that's enough to take care of any foreign invader.
Yeah.
It's enough to wipe out the crime in your neighborhood. But these people, it has to be the NRA and all of the gun lobbies and so on like that feeding all of these scare stories to the public so that you'll buy the guns that's shown on the covers of Guns and Ammo. I mean, instead of a 38 you can buy for $100, they want you to pay $900 for a Super Frankenstein model. I mean, it's stupid.
I know. I agree with that.
Because every time they push through a restrictive gun bill, they never enforce it, but then these pro-gun people get people all excited and they go clean out the guns from the shops.
Yeah, so that's what a friend of mine said. He works at a surplus store.
Yeah.
And he said that, they're just selling the crap out of the guns.
Yes.
He said it's the best thing that ever happened.
Yes, I mean, people denounced the Brady bill. Everyone denounced the Brady bill except for the people who were selling guns.
Yeah, that's right.
And, of course, they denounced them publicly, but privately they just planned a trip to Monaco or whatever.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't want to tie up your lines there. I appreciate...
Have you ordered my packet yet?
Yeah. If it's not there today, it should be there tomorrow.
Okay.
Off Thursday.
I hope you told which book you wanted.
Yeah, the root what is it? Root Rock? Or?
Yeah. Oh, you're gonna love it.
Yeah. I am involved in genealogy anyway. And,
yeah.
I was told a long time ago that Alex Haley was a fraud, and I had never heard of this book until you mentioned it.
Well, I put that together before the series came out. I had read the book, and it was such absolute and utter garbage. And then, of course, after about a year, then came the reports that Alex Haley was sued by Corlander, author of The African, and he collected $250,000 for plagiarism. And Alex Haley was a liar and a fraud, and although the Roots, the TV series, was very well made, it was an insult to everybody.
Exactly. It made, I know some of my ancestors, it made me very angry the way they were portrayed, you know.
Yeah, and I saw LeVar Burton, who played Kunta Kinte on the thing just a few days ago on a children's program, and he was telling on the children's program how his ancestors were kidnapped.
Yeah, right.
Well, that book shows, and there's no argument there, that had his ancestor not been taken from Africa, he would most likely have been either sacrificed to their gods or eaten or both.
Ooh.
Because all the people who were brought over as slaves, they were not princes, they were losers.
That's what I understand. I'm really looking forward to reading this.
I mean, it was only the blacks that sold their fellow blacks. White people did not go into the interior because the climate was too bad for them. So the black chiefs would sell the losers in their tribes, or they would sell the people that they captured from other tribes, which of course were losers in a sense because they couldn't defend themselves. They'd sell them usually to Arab traders, and the Arab traders would bring them to the coast where they would put them on the white man's boats.
Oh, wow.
But the book shows that in stories printed over 100 years ago, and like I said, by Yankee magazines, who were the ultra-liberals of their time. It was these same magazines that got the Civil War going and to free the slaves. And they did, well, they told the truth most of the time, and you cannot argue with these stories. They're also fun reading too, all of them.
Well, I'll enjoy reading that. And thank you, sir. You've answered my question, and I really enjoy you, sir. Keep up the good work.
Well, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. Okay, the phone number again is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. And I might add, you'll get a $5 refund on either subscription to U.S. Militia or the Shoestring Entrepreneur. Hello, Kurt here.
Yeah, hi, Kurt. I'm calling you from my car phone in Florida.
Oh-ho.
I have a mobile shortwave in the car, and just wanted to say a couple things. But first off, all you people out there who complain that you don't get good shortwave reception, get yourself a good radio and a good antenna, and you won't have that problem.
Yeah.
No.
Well, sometimes the atmosphere is pretty bad in certain areas.
Yeah, but if you get a good radio and a good antenna, you can overcome most. I happen to be an electronics engineer. Spend a lot of time on the road, so I outfitted myself with a rig that works in the car.
Well, is there a specific model you might recommend?
No, anything that's good, high quality with a product detector and selectable sidebands, because for voice communications, you can really just flip it into a sideband mode and using the filtering circuit that's built into these things, the notch filters and the IF passband tuning. You can eliminate all the interference and all that garbage for the most part.
Yeah.
Works very well.
Well, that's good.
Anyhow, what I wanted to call, I wouldn't be wasting my money calling long distance from a car phone, except that I got to really object to you suggest that the NRA and the big gun companies are behind all these gun laws, and I have a real hard time accepting that, and I didn't hear any evidence offered or any proof of that offered. And in fact, I would say,
well, I'd be glad to give you some.
Well, I would like to say that if the Feinstein bill goes through, or any of these others that are going to ban specific guns by make and model, the big companies in the NRA are not going to be too happy, because that cuts their legs out. I mean, if you can't make and sell AR-15s domestically anymore, you've lost a huge chunk of market.
That's right.
and to sit there and say that...
Well, you're giving the proof of my statement in the first place.
Well, I don't think so. I think it's very realistic that we're going to see a ban on AR-15s and that.
Well, you don't need an AR-15 if you have a 30-06.
Well, no, you don't need one, but I'll be honest with you, there's people who want to have them and have the money and should be able to buy them. There's no reason why we shouldn't be able to.
Well, I'm not going to argue that. You're right. You're absolutely right. But I don't like the fear being spread among regular gun owners that they're going to get their guns confiscated, because you see, behind all of this propaganda about you can't buy this gun and you can't buy that gun, they say this is the next step toward taking your gun away, and that is nonsense.
Well, that's your opinion. You're entitled to your opinion.
Well,
my opinion reads it very differently, and ultimately, and I think that's provable. I think it's actually provable beyond argument, because many of these gun grabbers out there, if you get them privately, or if they're in what they believe to be preaching to the choir, they'll talk like that. That's exactly what they say. They said, this is really just the first step. And Janet Reno has even said she doesn't believe that, you know, we should be able to get all the guns.
That's right. I know. But
that in the Rolling Stone interview.
Yeah, but you see, Janet Reno doesn't have the manpower to collect people's guns.
Oh, no, and I don't think we're ever going to see a door-to-door, kick down the door, search, give me your guns kind of thing, unless you draw attention to yourself.
Yes, well, just don't draw attention to yourself.
Unless your church doesn't happen to be BATF approved or something. So.
Well, I don't know about that, but I've spoken several times about the ban on, the order to register all rapid-fire weapons in California, and they have over 300,000 such weapons, and only about 15,000 have been registered. So if you can't get them to register them, like...
I don't believe they're going to... You know, I think those are laws that they're going to put in place that hopefully, in their opinion, will hopefully have effect 50 years from now and 100 years from now. They know realistically they're not going to be able to get all those guns. They know that.
Yeah.
But what they're going to do is attack the next generation of gun buyers coming up, make it harder for them, make it harder for the manufacturers, and slowly but surely weed guns out of our not just out of our society, but out of our mental attitude.
Well, that wouldn't be too bad. I don't see the big threat where everyone has to be armed to the teeth. And if a person likes guns, and if he has his 30-06 and his shotgun and his revolver, then he could lose his desire for weapons and just have them in the closet in case the time came when he needed to use them. Yeah,
well, most of my guns that I have, I'm lucky if I fire some of them once a year.
Yeah.
It's not like going out and shooting them all the time or anything. The point is anytime you ask for a government solution to a problem, you can count on once government takes a little, they're going to take more and more and more. And I really think that's the danger here with allowing the government to pass any laws.
Well, you see, the government hasn't really done anything about guns. They've talked about it. This liberal politician...
Well, one step at a time. Turn the fire up a little bit at a time.
Well, no, let me tell you how it happens. A liberal politician like Metzenbaum will say, well, we ought to have a bill against this, and then the NRA are going to throw out to the public like the bill is already enforced.
Right.
And that simply doesn't happen. The problem with the Justice Department of these days is it has no power. When I was young, the Justice Department had power, and now it doesn't. Our streets are crime-ridden. The laws that are passed are ignored. And let me tell you about Larry Pratt and Michael somebody of the Coalition for Handgun Control.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the Jerry Springer show last year, and they were talking about, Michael was saying how his group was going to take away all the guns, which of course was laughable. And Larry Pratt said his group wants to take away all the guns, but my group is not going to let them. As far as I was concerned, they were in bed together because both of them were creating anxieties among the gun-owning public. And
well, some of that's just survival, to keep your job, you keep a demand for your job.
Yeah, well, Larry Pratt is a paid lobbyist.
I understand.
He puts out the Gun Owners publication, And for years and years and years, he's been beating the drum of confiscation, and he knows better than anybody else that it's impossible, it's stupid, and the government makes billions and billions of dollars off of taxing the gun industry. They also spend a lot of money on ads against tobacco, and at the same time they subsidize the tobacco growers. So the government is a hodgepodge of conflicting emotions and staffed by morons, and luckily today another of Clinton's staff, his top-level people, resigned, and who knows, we might not have a Clinton government after a few months. So
I have a feeling that would be desirable, but I personally don't believe that's going to happen. I think the unfortunate part is these people are going to weather this like they've weathered everything else, and then they're going to be twice as dangerous.
Well, I think that having experienced Clinton for 12 years of his stupid governorship, I think that the big boys in Washington realize that he's too much of a clod, although he is crooked. He's simply too much of a clod for them to be able to depend on.
Well, time will tell. Well, listen, I appreciate taking my call, and I'll keep listening even though I may disagree from
Hey, that's fine. Listen, I love you call. I just love guys like you. You don't have to agree with me. For pity's sake, that'd be awful.
Thank you, Kurt.
Okay, buddy.
Bye.
Bye for now. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Hi, Kurt. This is Mike down in Florida.
Yes, Mike.
Hey, I just had one comment on all this gun control stuff. I think maybe you missed a point here.
Yeah.
It looks to me like the government, what they're trying to do is get us to all go out there and buy guns at the gun store that are all registered.
Yeah.
All those forms go up to Washington.
Yeah.
And then next year they send you a letter to your house and they say, you've got a gun, you can keep it. That's fine. But you have to send us $200 a year to do so.
Well, I don't think many people would comply. I figured that there might be about 150 million guns got stolen overnight.
Or buried out in the backyard.
There you go.
Yeah. Okay.
No, they couldn't. That would be probably one of the most stupid things they could do. And then the gun business would soar again.
Yeah, that's true. But the thing is, the government will get more of our money.
Yeah, but you see, they don't have a master computer. They also, the different departments of the Department of Justice are always conflicting. They don't like each other. They're always competing, and they don't swap records. And also, when I gave lectures to rookie graduating cops in California, after the thing there, I would talk to them about gun control and confiscation, and not one of the young guys but said that he would resign if they gave him a sheaf of papers to go collecting guns. I mean, like for instance, the ATF has less than 5,000 field agents, and if they should go trying to confiscate guns, they'd be used up in about 6 blocks, because you've got all kinds of fanatics who would not be disarmed. They think, here's a guy knocking on my door, he wants my gun, this is the Alamo, bang, bang, bang. Can't be done. And the cops know that because, hey, they're just like you and me. They got a good job. They can carry a gun. They got status. And I should suppose most of them are very patriotic and really want to take care of things. But when push comes to shove and they're going to get shot because they want to take some turkey's gun, they didn't join for that.
Well, I think there's enough nervous ninnies out there that if they got a letter in the paper from the ATF or any division of the government that said, send us $200 and, go down to the sheriff's office and get fingerprinted and get your picture taken every year, I think there's enough out there that would do that it would be, I think, very worthwhile for the government to try such a campaign.
Well, it would.
They're always so busy trying to take our money from us in every different way they can think of.
It might be a good way. I say any nervous ninny that did that deserves to lose $200.
I agree. Okay, Kurt, thanks a lot for taking my call. Enjoy your show, and I'll listen to it every night.
Thank you very much.
Okay, good night, Kurt.
Bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Kurt, this is Lonnie in Tampa, Florida.
Hi, Lonnie.
Did you know about Public Law 87-297? It calls for the United States to completely eliminate its armed forces.
I've never heard of a thing like that. Who told you that? Who told you that?
This is from the Second Amendment Foundation, and I've heard it from other people too. It's in Title 22 of the United States, the law, United States Code 22 is where it's located.
Well, what is the Second Amendment Foundation?
They're out of Hanford, California.
It's a committee.
Yeah.
My engineer says.
Yeah. I'm sorry.
Mm-hmm.
But, you know, so if they're going to do that,
well,
I mean...
Well, now, wait a minute. Wait. Before you talk about they're going to do that, I'm saying that I don't believe it. I believe you, but I don't... If the committee put out something like that... Look, I could say that that they're going to give everybody on welfare $10 million, and that was from Congress Bill 1830-47-2. Yeah, but that wouldn't mean anything. And even if the law were on the books, it's not something they could enforce. If you take away the Army of the United States, you'd have a revolution.
Well,
I'd have to read that myself. I'm not going to take the word of any jackleg committee in California. They'd have to show me the law. Now, here I am on the radio. Maybe I'm important enough for anyone who has that law, except what was sent by that program there, that committee. I'd like to read the law myself.
Yeah, I'd like to see this too, but I feel it's probably true. I think, you know, they sold us down the river, and the creditors are dictating...
Oh, my engineer just handed me this, an act, Public Law 87-297, 87th Congress, H.R. 9118, September 26, 1961. Now, that was 33 years ago. What happened to it?
Well, I don't know when they plan on doing all this.
Well, look, I could plan. They can plan on making laws. What's happened on the Martian colonies whenever we get there. I'm not going to worry about that.
Yeah, okay.
But 1961. Think a minute.
Well, I'm with you. You know, I think they have nerve writing laws like this when we're all still armed anyway.
Well, most of the people who wrote those laws are no longer in the government, and most of them are dead. But it'd be a very stupid thing, and I don't know why they wrote it. But let me give you another example. I heard this another guy on this same radio station where he was reading something, and he was talking about concentration camps, and he proved his idea of concentration camps for dissidents. Because the proposition was put out by politicians in 1965. Okay, and that was sort of supposed to be proof that they were all ready to do it. Okay, so that was about 30 years ago. But you see, in 1964, I joined the Minutemen, and 64, I joined the Minutemen, and I was an ultra-radical. And in 1966, I joined the Nazi Party, and really rioting in the streets. I loved it, but that's beside the point. Okay, now in the 60s, as you may have remembered reading, because you're probably pretty young, there was rioting in the streets constantly. There were actually millions of leftist students. They were taking over colleges. They were flaunting the law. They were beating up cops. Cops were beating them. You know, the police riots in Chicago. And it was a real mess. And so certain politicians proposed throwing all of that vermin in concentration camps. But you see, what the guy that was reading it on the air wanted you to believe, that this is for modern people today, anyone who has a gun, anyone who speaks out against something like that. But actually, the idea was proposed to put the leftist dissidents in concentration camps. And not even because of what they believed, but because of what they were doing. They really thought that they were upsetting the system. So you see, so they say, okay, well, here they proposed this thing in 1965. That's the proof that they're going to do it today. That's nonsense. I want you to think.
Yeah, well, I hope you're right.
So
You did know about this law then, or?
Well, no, I didn't know about it, but Kerry, my engineer, who is extremely wise, he just opened up his book and he handed this to me. But September 26, 1961, give me a break. That has nothing to do with today. I don't know if it has the names here, but I'll look this over later. But Arms Control and Disarmament Act and all like that. But for 1961, see, if you can't do any, if you know anything about politics, you know something about politics?
A little bit.
Okay, people are voted in or they're appointed for a certain term of years. And if they want to get something done, they'd better damn well do it under their own administration. See?
Yeah.
Okay, it's been many administrations since 1961, and nothing's happened, so obviously they got nothing done. It was a proposition.
Uh-huh. Well.
But had it been a law, they would have disbanded the Army, and then there would have been no Vietnam.
Sounds good to me, but I know they're still forging ahead the best they can.
Well, I know, but they're becoming less competent all the time. They can't do anything. You remember this black woman who proposed putting the National Guard in Washington, D.C.? Well, I think that'd be a good idea. But if they can't even do that, they're certainly not going to... I mean, here's a situation where they need some kind of control over a really riotous community, and they can't even do that.
Yeah.
So if they disband the Army, then who's going to confiscate the guns? See?
Mm-hmm.
And who's going to patrol Washington, D.C.? And who's going to do that? They can't do it. It's nonsense. I just want you to think for yourself. When someone puts out a proposition like that, listen, I could get in Congress and I would propose that every person on welfare were sterilized and every violent criminal were killed. Now, do you think it would work?
Well, no.
Okay, but then a lot of liberals would say, here, this guy is in the government and he's proposing this and he's coming after you right now. Wouldn't happen.
Well, these bankers, I think, they just don't know the way society really works.
Well, they don't. They don't, because bankers don't have any sense. All they know is what they read in the Wall Street Journal. So don't worry about it.
Okay.
Let them make their propositions.
All righty. Well, I just wanted to, if you didn't know about this law, I just wanted to...
Well, I know now, but since it's dated 1961, I'm not going to worry my head about it.
Okay.
But if you're worried about something like that, subscribe to U.S. Militia. And even if you're not, it's a great publication.
Yeah, I got your package. I enjoyed that.
I'm glad. Okay, subscribe to U.S. Militia, and then if they should disband the Army, you've got an army of your own.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay, thanks, Kurt.
Thanks for your call.
Night.
Bye for now. Okay, phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas, 72611. Hello, Kurt here.
Hello, Kurt. How you doing, brother?
Doing fine.
Good. Kurt, how many weeks does it take for somebody to get their package in the mail, that $10 one?
Well, we're getting, they're all getting there now. When did you send for yours?
It's been about 2 weeks.
2 weeks. Well, it should be on its way then. I wouldn't worry about that. It's going book rate. That can take a couple of weeks.
Okay. Hey, Kurt, let me ask you this. What do you personally think of the significance of this whole Waco thing a few weeks ago?
I don't think it has any significance at all.
Because it seems like groups calling themselves patriots are jumping on this as saying, see, we told you so. They come to get their guns, and look what happened. They slaughtered them.
Yeah, but you see, Koresh's group didn't call themselves patriots. They were a religious group. And what they were doing, they were arming against some enemy, and Koresh kept screaming about the government. And the UPS agent in Waco got so many packages from these legitimate arms dealers, of course, all over the country, just packs and packs and packs of arms and ammunition, and he thought, well, what are these religious people doing ordering all of these guns? And so he put the feds on that. He asked them, well, mainly he didn't want to get in trouble for gun running or whatever. I don't know what his anxiety was. But then also Koresh had, there had been so many complaints about Koresh from his followers who had dropped away that the sheriff's department was uneasy and the state police were uneasy. Now let me throw this out to you. You probably followed that case, as anyone who has a TV or radio had to.
Right.
Now, more and more people were leaving Koresh. They were taking their children out. They were getting dissatisfied with him. I believe that he was going progressively insane. He was losing it.
Mm-hmm.
He even told, he was the only guy there that could have sex, and he had sex with all the women. It's just been told so often that there must be something to it.
Right.
And it was told by the people who got out. Okay, now here's a guy who is proclaiming in various ways that he is the second coming of Christ. And people are leaving him. He's losing it in all kinds of ways. Now, if you had his kind of ideas, as much as you can understand, and you had a group that was so fanatically loyal to you that a guy would let you have sex with his wife and him not have sex with her at all, and you start losing that, and maybe you're going a little nutty too,
sure,
then wouldn't that be the time to start being defiant, to make their move?
Yeah, that would add up.
Okay, so here they come in and they wipe him out, and so he's got what he wants. He dies a martyr and a hero in the eyes of some. But that doesn't mean that they did that to them, and so they're going to do it to you. They were not a patriotic organization. They were a religious group, and no one could understand their religion, especially the people who were a part of it.
Right. Yeah. Because you are aware that a lot of these so-called patriot groups are picking up on this as here's the future right now.
Yes. Well, it has nothing to do with patriot groups, and these patriot groups, they are not really groups at all. The patriot groups are newsletter patriots.
Mm-hmm.
They subscribe to a newsletter, and here you got a subscriber here, a subscriber there, all around the country. There might be 150, 200 spread around, and they somehow communicate with each other occasionally, and they think they're a group. Now, during the 60s, I was with various patriot groups. I mean, we were hard-headed suckers, I tell you. You can't get any farther right than the Minutemen and the Nazis, and the feds never bothered us at all.
Mm-hmm.
They never tried to bust us up. They couldn't. And look at Butler's Aryan Nations in Utah, and not in Utah. Well, I forget exactly where he is now, but that's a patriot group.
Yeah.
And they may think they're being spied on, but they haven't been restricted in any way. And I would call them a patriot group. They're identity Christians. They're racists, everything like that. I mean, good for them if that's what they...
Fine, sure.
Okay.
Right.
But now, though, there's been so many stories about them making them so dangerous and all, well, if they can fly their flag, just because you subscribe to some conspiracy theory newsletter, that doesn't make you part of a patriot group. If you want to be a part of a patriot group, join one. Be with them all the time, be at least in the same town,
mm-hmm.
and that would make you a patriot group.
Gotcha. They had Maury Povich. I just happened to see the last 15 minutes today. The Maury Povich show is having a two-day special on the Waco thing, and I forgot to watch it until the last 15 minutes, and they're going to have another hour tomorrow.
Well, what I'm going to do is I'm going to take my tape that was made by the CBN, that's the Christian Broadcasting Network,
right.
their evaluation of Waco. It's about 5 minutes, and it will be audio, of course. I'm taking it from the tape.
All right.
but you can listen to them.
Okay.
And the people on that, they don't have any axe to grind. They're just they had people investigating it.
Okay. When are you going to play it?
Well, I might play it tomorrow. We got some moving to do, but if I don't play it tomorrow, I'll play it the next night.
Okay. One more thing. I happened to see the Jerry Springer show last week.
Yes.
You were on.
Yes.
And, Kurt, I don't know if you noticed, but you have a very like a soft-spoken type of manner over the telephone.
Yeah.
And let me say something here to all your listeners, and I assure you, this guy I saw on TV is a man. This guy's a man's man, and just by looking at you, you can tell that you are 100% believing in what you say, and are right down the line as serious as you are on TV as you are on the radio.
Why, thank you. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Have you subscribed to U.S. Militia?
No, I haven't because I haven't got my kit.
Oh, that's right. That's
Oh,
right.
wait.
Well, you'll get it in hopefully. If you don't get it in like a week,
I'll call you.
Well, not on the radio. You send a card.
A card.
Yeah, and then we'll just send you out another one.
Thank you.
Okay, buddy.
Good night.
Okay, good night. Okay, the phone number is 501-437-2963. The mailing address for the $10 packet, which you'll get $5 off on either subscription, is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas 72611. Hello, Kurt Saxon here.
Hi, Kurt. This is Dieter from Maryland.
Hi, Dieter.
I just want to let the people in Maryland know that there's a bill in the Maryland Senate right now that's going to ban the sale and make illegal any rifle clip or pistol clip that holds over 20 rounds.
Yeah.
So
Well, that's good.
Well, I don't need one, but I just...
Well, okay, then you know how to shoot, is that right?
Yes, sir.
Okay, if you know how to shoot, you don't need 20 shots.
Yeah, but, you know, because I don't need one doesn't mean I don't want the government to, you know, I mean, if I wanted one, you know, now they're telling me I can't have one.
Well, you shouldn't live in Maryland.
They're just slowly, you know...
Well,
Maryland has nothing to do with it. It's going to go everywhere.
Well, even so, is it enforceable? Well, look at their past record.
Well, yeah, I live 6 miles from D.C., and you're not supposed to have a handgun there, and there's 4 killings a night.
There you go.
So, I mean...
Only 4? I thought it was up to about a dozen.
A night, maybe shot, but I'm talking about deaths.
Yeah, well, that's not enough.
But, yeah, I definitely carry that 4 winds with me when I go down there at night. So.
Well, good for you. You're a subscriber to U.S. Militia then.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Oh, good.
Great magazine.
Do you have a pad for it?
No, I didn't make one.
Well, you better make one because you don't want it to go out of your hands or knock you down.
Oh, it hurts, yeah.
Yeah.
It does hurt because I fired it in the basement.
Yeah. It works though good, doesn't it?
Yeah. The only thing, it does sometimes a little bit of flash comes out between the 2 pipes.
Well, now you just look at your second issue and read what Tawanda the Avenger did.
Right.
And you do that, and you've eliminated the flash, and you've eliminated the recoil.
Yeah, but it is a lot easier than just. I mean, it's under my seat, and anybody gonna mess with me, I ain't gonna miss.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay. Oh, by the way, now we were snowed in for several days and there was no mail. So maybe that's why some of you have had a few days delay on getting your packet. Okay. Phone number, again, is 501-437-2963. Mailing address is P.O. Box 95, Alpena, Arkansas. And be sure to specify, do you want Root Rot or the Fuel Book? Hello, Kurt here.
Hi, Kurt. Am I on the air?
Yes, you are.
Oh, great. My name is Jim. I'm in Cleveland.
Hi, Jim.
Listen, a couple callers back, some fellow mentioned an HR bill number. Do you still have that available?
Yeah, he's going to reach for it again. Yes, I got it.
What was that? I'd like to write it down.
Well, it was the Public Law 87-297, 87th Congress, HR 9118, but it's September 26, 1961. I wouldn't worry about it.
The reason I'm calling is it kind of joggled my gray matter, and I went to my files and pulled out a United Nations publication of September of the same year.
Yeah.
All right, and it calls for the total disarmament of the United States and any world government with a substantial military.
Yeah, well, they haven't done it, have they?
Well, here. My point is this. If these laws are on the books, and if they are set up...
But they're not laws. They're not laws. It wasn't passed. It hasn't come into effect.
Well, you know, let me finish.
Okay.
We are seeing greater and greater emphasis put on United Nations forces.
Yes, and they are totally incompetent. What have they done? What have they done in Yugoslavia? What have they done in Somalia?
Okay, Kurt, let me finish.
Okay.
All right. Now, this isn't going to happen tomorrow, but what I feel, and a lot of other people feel is going to happen, is that this country is going to lose its military strength. There is going to be a greater influence of United Nations forces, and you asked the question, if we lose our army, who's going to patrol the streets? Well, it's going to be an army, but it's not going to be our army. You follow what I'm saying? Well,
you see, the United Nations doesn't have the troops. We have more soldiers in America than is in the entire United Nations forces.
Well, I understand that, but what they're trying to do is build up the United Nations forces as the military might of the world. All right? Okay. Now, maybe, well, why don't you just say they would like to? Well, what they would like to do and what they can do is entirely different. First of all, we're talking about they. Do you know who they are? Well, I really don't know. I don't think it's many people in the American government. No, I don't think so either, but there are some. Well, you see, the other governments have no power. Well, Kurt, I don't know how long you've been in the business, but if you study your Trilateral Commission... Well, I don't study the Trilateral Commission. I know that Clinton is a member, and that doesn't speak well of it. Well, I mean, if they're as incompetent as he is, they couldn't get anything done. Well, they are getting things done. It's just that most people don't. Well, now be specific. What are they getting? What have they gotten done? Well, they're turning the world towards a total socialistic world. Number one. Well, now wait. That's pretty broad. Give me an instance. Well, there's many instances. Number one, you got outcome-based education. They're going to jam down our throats. Well, educate your children at home. Well, if you ever studied outcome-based education, you realize that your kids could get straight A's on an SAT test. But if they're not, according to the outcome-based education and the government ruling on it, if they're not taught by outcome-based education teachers, their credits won't be accepted into a college. Well, have you ever talked to any kids lately? Yeah. They're pretty stupid, aren't they? That's right, and it's working, isn't it? No, it's not working. It's just that the IQ is dropping like a stone, generation after generation. When I was young, children were bright. And I have reprints of publications for children in my day, and it was bright. They were bright children. They could understand things. Now, this nation's youth, and all over the world for the most part, the kids are just a bunch of little morons. That's right. That's exactly right. Except for a certain group of kids throughout the world, not just in the United States, yes, are going to be the next world leaders because they are in the elite class. Well, they will be leading a lot of morons, and it shouldn't... Exactly what they want. Well, if you get my packet, I think you'll like it. All right, Kurt. So don't we got 30 seconds left. All right. Well, what I'm saying is it's just coincidental now. Yeah. That this United Nations and this House bill that happen to be published in the same month and the same year. Okay. Well, we got to go. You call again and elaborate on that. Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Bye-bye. Now it's sign-off time. I'll talk to you tomorrow. So this is Kurt Saxon saying goodbye and be good.